Hello and welcome to our Chapter 4 e-learning video. Chapter 4, Major Decision Making Prior to Starting a Small Business, marks the start of Area Study 2, Small Business Decision Making, Planning and Evaluation. Chapter 4 focuses on decision making before starting a small business. Small business management involves making lots of decisions. In order to have a successful small business, owners must be able to make appropriate decisions. And not all decisions are appropriate. So Chapter 4 focuses on the key decisions that need to be made prior to starting a small business. There are 7 key decisions that are made before establishing a small business. Is the potential owner suitable to be a business owner? What type of business is it? What is the business concept? What type of ownership would the business have? Should a person purchase an existing business or start a completely new business? Where should the business be located? And what will be the layout of the business? We are going to go through these 7 key decisions before making a small business in a lot of detail later on. Decision number 1. Suited to operate a small business. The first decision a business owner must ask is, am I suited to operate a small business? In particular, what is your motivation? Is it money? Is it fame? Or are you just following family traditions? Are these motivational reasons enough for you to actually go ahead and start your own business? You need to ask yourself, what are my personal objectives and what is important to you? So do you have the personal skills and qualities for small business success? The following skills are important to a business owner. So before you take that huge leap, ask yourself, do I have these skills? The first one is communication skills. Are you able to relate to your employees? Are you able to talk to them about what you want? Are you able to talk to your customers? The next one, technical skills and appropriate qualifications. You need to ask yourself, have you got the TAFE or the uni qualification needed for this job? Do you have the relevant knowledge? For example, the new business owner of a hairdressing salon needs to know how to cut hair. You also need to be able to plan and organise. Will you buckle under the pressure, or can you keep everything well organised? Accounting and financial skills. You need to be able to keep track of sales. Is the business in the black, meaning profits are high, or is the business in the red, not making any profit? What about marketing and promotional skills? You can't wait for your customers to come to you. Sometimes you have to go to them. Through advertising, special deals. Remember the case study Sammy and his pizza company? He had half price Tuesdays. That was a promotional skill. You also need to have administration skills and analytical skills, which is the ability to analyze or study the nature of a given situation and find some solutions. You need to have computer skills, because you might be operating some very advanced software. You need to be able to negotiate. You might be negotiating with your customers. More than likely, you'll be negotiating with your employees. And of course, one of the most important skills that you need to have as a business owner is leadership skills. The owner of the business will be required to lead effectively both the staff and the business as a whole. So now it's time to turn to page 43 of your textbook and complete activity 4.1, the skills audit. There are also personal qualities that are advantageous when operating a small business. The first one is taking risks. Are you prepared to take risks? It's important for a small business owner to be courageous. What about thinking outside the box? This is the ability to think outside the square, and it means to think of new ideas and different ways of approaching things, to see opportunities that others cannot. Small business owners need to have confidence. Confidence in themselves and confidence that their business is going to do well. It's important to have self-belief. Self-belief and enthusiasm that you can do it, that the business will be successful. It's important to be able to work independently and without requiring any guidance. Small businesses do well when their owners are able to work independently. Business owners need to be able to accept responsibility. Responsibility for the business and responsibility for their employees. Small business owners should be able to be flexible. Flexibility and the ability to change direction when required is a very important skill to have as a business owner. Determination. Determination to see things through and knowing that the business is going to make it. Business owners also need to have the capacity to work hard. No small business has ever been successful without the hard work of its owner or owners. Small business owners need to be ambitious. They need to be able to have long-term goals and to have some direction in order to achieve them. One very important skill is being adaptable. The market is always going to change, and it's important for business owners to have the ability to adapt to these changes readily and to learn from their mistakes. And finally, small business owners need to be go-getters. They need to be doers. Don't dream, go and do. Okay, now it's time to do some work. So please turn to page 44 and 45 of your textbook and complete activity 4.2 and 4.3. So the next decision a small business owner needs to make is what type of business. You need to come up with a brilliant idea. Ideas for a new business could come up by listening to family and friends. So you might have a conversation with your family and you come up with this brilliant idea. Or you might be having coffee with friends and all of a sudden something comes up and you're like, oh wow, that would be a great idea. You could be just sitting there and somehow you get some inspiration. Out of nowhere you think, wow, this would be a great idea. Or you might have done a little bit of research and come up with a brilliant business idea. You could be overseas looking for business ideas. You could come up with a new invention or a new innovation of some sort. Some people also refer to magazines and newspapers to get some inspiration on new business ideas. Either way, it's important to come up with a business idea that is innovative and creative. Potential business owners must look for what we call a gap in the market. This means that there is an opportunity, that's that important word, opportunity, for a business to enter into an area of the market that is not currently already being serviced. Now, an example of this is El Dino's Cafe. El Dino's Cafe is run by a guy called Dean Anderson. He's the owner of El Dino's Cafe. It's a new late-night coffee shop opening up in Rockhampton, Queensland. Dean found there was a gap in the market for healthy food and coffee late at night. So there were plenty of pubs and clubs selling unhealthy food, but nowhere to go for a healthy snack late at night. So Dean thought to himself, well, there's this gap in the market for healthy food late at night, so why not go in with a new business venture? A small business, a cafe that caters for the needs of these people who want to go out and get a late night snack but want something a little bit healthy. So that is what we call a gap in the market. And a lot of small businesses become very successful when they find that there is a gap in a particular market and they are able to fill it. When starting a new small business, it is important to have innovation and entrepreneurship. Innovation is the introduction of new things or methods, or the improving of current work practices, procedures, and products. Consumers like innovation, and they will more likely to buy something that is new and different on the market. Now, an innovation can be a whole new product, but it also can be a variation on an existing product, making something that is already on the market better, giving it a new design and a new feature. Innovation is the source of a whole new industry. In fact, innovation is leading to increased productivity and is a basic source of increasing wealth creation. A potential small business operator must look for innovative opportunities. There is no success in things that are already on the market. Why not check out one of Australia's most innovative businesses of 2014? It was voted number 2 most creative business. It is called Revolver Creative. Revolver Creative took on this really interesting and innovative idea of organising working spaces for different various companies and entrepreneurs to work together in this one space. Revolver Creative has a combination of private offices and communal workspaces. All workspaces are equipped with furniture, and it's the perfect example of whole brain thinking. Their motto is work the way you've always wanted to, in an environment that encourages goal-focused collaboration, a space with the technology and resources to help the entrepreneur develop and drive their business. If you want to check out this innovative new business, you can go to their website www.revolvercreative.com.au. If you want to look at some other innovative businesses in Australia, you can check out Australia Business Review's Top 10 Most Innovative Businesses of 2014. The website is just down here. So once you have distinguished whether you are suited to operate a small business or not, and you have decided the type of business, you now also need to protect your business. So once you have come up with your innovative business idea, you need to protect it from being stolen. Yes, being stolen. Intellectual property can be inventions, trademarks, or designs, and people can actually steal these ideas. Now, in order to protect your intellectual property, you must register your business and your business name through obtaining an Australian business number. So once you've registered your business, this basically means that other people can't register their business under the same name. Can you imagine 2 businesses with exactly the same name? Now, in Australia, you can visit the following website for more information. It's time for some more work. So please turn to page 48 and complete activity 4.4. Decision number 3. Developing a business concept. Once your business idea has been developed and you have protected the intellectual property by registering your business, you need to conduct what we call market research. It is important to find out, is there a market for my product? Meaning, will people actually want to buy it? Will this business be viable? That's an important word, viable. Will the business survive and make money? Even the best business ideas are useless when there are insufficient customers or clients willing and able to pay for the goods and services being offered. Potential business owners should conduct a feasibility study. This feasibility study determines the viability of a business. Now, the word viable means capable of developing and growing. If a business is not capable of developing and growing, it's not going to be successful, and more than likely, this business is going to fail. In a feasibility study, products should be looked at from the perspective of potential customers, because this is where you're going to make your money. Now, you need to ask yourself, or business owners need to ask themselves, is my business attractive to customers? So are customers going to want to buy products from my business? Does my business idea provide value? Does the business idea do what it's meant to do? Who and what will be the competition for my business idea? Sometimes you might have a brilliant idea, but if there are lots of competition out there, similar types of businesses, you might find that your business, although it's innovative and creative, it might not do very well because there are so many other businesses out there that are very similar. So it's time again for some more work. Please turn to page 53 of the textbook and have a look at the case study, Outlast a Use for Dingo Urine, and complete activity 4.6. Decision number 4. A new business from scratch or an existing business. So should a potential business owner start a new business completely from scratch? Should a new business owner purchase an existing business? Or should a potential business owner buy a franchise? There are advantages and disadvantages of all three choices. Starting a business from scratch. The advantages to the business owner of starting from scratch can be complete control over the concept and form of the business. It will be their business with their personal stamp on it. The price of the business will not include the added cost of goodwill. Now, goodwill is the difference in value between the price that a business is sold for and its actual worth. Some businesses have a very good reputation, so if you are buying into that business, you have to pay for the price of that good reputation. The advantages to the business owner of starting from scratch can also be more freedom to implement their own ideas and to be their own boss, to avoid buying into the mistakes of others, and they have complete autonomy in the running of the business and its establishment decisions. Now, some of the disadvantages to the business owner of starting from scratch can be there is a greater and far greater uncertainty with no previous sales history or figures to refer to. There is more work initially. It will take longer to establish a client customer base, and therefore cash flow is going to take a lot longer to establish. Greater time and energy is required to establish a good name and reputation. Customers will not trust your business until it's been around for quite a bit of time. So what about buying an existing business? What are the advantages? Advantages of buying an existing business can include it is a much simpler process, as things like registration of the business name and staffing have already been done. It is usually easier to obtain finance due to easy access to business financial records. The total costs are agreed upon initially and unlikely to blow out. The business will become operational and generate cash flow more quickly. Business operating procedures and practices will already be in place, and existing suppliers and staff and client base are there. The disadvantages of buying an existing business can include the danger that the purchaser may be buying a lemon, meaning someone else's failure. So the business might not be doing very well and it gets sold, and the person who buys it inherits all of those failures. Goodwill can easily be overvalued. Goodwill can in fact be bad if a business has a poor reputation. What about buying a franchise? Advantages of buying into a franchise business can include significantly reduced risk of business failure. To avoid making the franchise's initial mistakes and benefit from the training provided. The system has been tested and usually succeeds. Expert assistance and advice are provided. There is less responsibility for decision making, with many key decisions made by the franchisor. There's established suppliers and the advantages of bulk buying, meaning that you could probably save some money. There are established procedures, staff training is provided, buyer awareness of the brand name is already established. There's easier access to finance, guarantee of an exclusive territory limits competition. The franchise business should be immediately competitive because everyone knows this business, it's got a name, it's got a reputation. But there are also some advantages of buying into a franchise business, and they can include far less independence. In effect, a franchise owner performs the role of a manager rather than an owner. The franchise owner will not be able to implement their own ideas. They implement the ideas of the franchisor. There is excessive costs and fees, as well as an initial purchase fee. The franchise owner will also be expected to pay a monthly service fee and a percentage of takings. The franchise is judged by the performance of other franchises. Poor service provided someone else will affect all. So an example of a new business idea is Aldino's Cafe and Restaurant that we talked about a little bit earlier. That was that cafe that was serving healthy options and alternatives late at night. An existing business can be something like Afghan Delicious Kebab House. So it goes on sale and then someone comes along and buys it. So it's an existing business, it's been around, it's got a name, it's got a reputation. So someone just comes along and takes over the business along with the reputation or the goodwill. Or you can get a franchise. There are so many franchises out there, and you've got to do a lot of research to find out which one is suitable for you. Here are some franchises that you can find in Australia. Decision number 5, form of ownership structure. New business owners need to decide on the proprietorship of the business. Now that is the legal ownership of the business. So will the business be a sole trader? Will it be a partnership? Or will it be a company? Now if it's a company, is it going to be a private one? Or is it going to be a public one? So which structure is best? Owners will decide on the business structure depending on the size of the business, the people involved, the type of business, taxation and other financial issues, finance, startup costs, the degree of risk, and their own personal preference. So let's have a look at sole traders. Sole traders often run from home. They are the simplest form of business. The owner makes all the decisions. The business operates under the owner's name or a registered business name. Sole traders have unlimited liability for the business, meaning they place all their personal assets at risk. It can be a little bit dangerous. They are personally and totally responsible for actions and debts of the business. However, they have all the right to profit, and they are the cheapest form of business. Now let's have a look at partnerships. Partnerships combine the expertise and resources of two or more people. All partners are jointly liable for all debts incurred by the business. So if it fails, both partners are responsible or liable for any debts incurred. Now, partnerships can consist between 2 to 20 people, so it doesn't have to be just 2 people. Now, there are 2 types of partnerships. General partnerships, where all partners are equally responsible, or there's the limited partnership, where liability of one partner is limited. People from the same family usually go into partnerships because family members usually can be trusted. If one partner leaves, a new partnership must be formed. Companies. Companies are also known as incorporations. Companies have their own independent legal entity that is separate from their owners. Now, we went through this a little bit in chapter 2. Starting a company can be expensive. The owners of a company are called shareholders, which basically means each shareholder owns a certain share of that company. Now, shareholders appoint directors to manage the company. So often or not, people who have shares in a company don't run that company. They appoint directors to run the company. Private companies have Pty Ltd at the end. This means propriety limited. Ownership and liability of the business is limited to only a few. Public companies have Ltd at the end. This means that ownership is limited to all of their shareholders. Companies are registered with ASIC. ASIC is the Australian Security and Investments Commission. ASIC is Australia's corporate markets and financial services regulator. They contribute to Australia's economic reputation and well-being by ensuring that Australia's financial markets are fair and transparent. They are supported by confident and informed investors and consumers. Please visit their website to find out more. So let's have a look at private and public companies. A private company is restricted to a maximum of 50 shareholders. Shares can only be traded with the permission of the other shareholders, which must be given before the transaction takes place. Private companies have the letters Pty Ltd after their names, meaning propriety limited. Private companies are often family companies. Public companies. Larger companies are usually public companies. These have an unlimited number of shareholders. A company initially issues a prospectus inviting the public to purchase its shares. Shares are freely traded on what is known as the stock exchange. Public companies can be recognised by the word limited or Ltd after the name, showing that they offer limited liability to their shareholders. Public companies are legally obliged to publicly report on their activities. So basically, when you're looking at the differences between private and public companies are very exclusive. They have a limited number of shareholders, and when shares are sold, they need permission from all shareholders. Private companies are usually family companies. Public companies, on the other hand, are larger, and there are many shareholders, and people in the public are invited to buy shares in these companies. Decision number 6, location. You might have heard of the phrase location, location, location. The location of a new business can either make or break the business. The location of a business provides the link between the business and its customers as well as suppliers. So you've got a new business location. It's important to remember that customers need to be able to get to this location quite easily. You need to also remember that suppliers also must be able to get to your business quite easily. So there needs to be that link there. You're not going to start your own small business somewhere out there in the outback where there are no customers and suppliers can't get to it. What to consider when thinking about a business location? We've got quantitative factors and qualitative factors. You can find these on page 62 and 63 of your textbook. When choosing the location of your new small business, you need to think about quite a few things. For example, economic and social trends. Where's this business most likely going to be financially successful? Are you going to choose a suburb that is well known and that people like to spend money? Or are you going to choose a suburb where people don't really go to? You need to think about the area profile. Is this a good place to have your business? Is it a safe place? Are customers going to be able to go to your business and enjoy your product? Or are they going to be fearful for their lives? You need to think about personal factors. Is the location close to your home? Are you happy travelling there? What about complementary businesses? If your business idea has complementary businesses, meaning, for example, you start a mobile phone business. If there are other businesses around there that maybe sell furniture or similar types of businesses, it's probably a good idea and a great location for your business, because when someone comes into your business, they might buy one thing and they go next door to buy another thing and find that everything is in a good location, nice and close. You need to think about the demographics of the area. So there's no point in starting your own business if the people around there are not happy with the type of product that you're going to offer. So for example, if you're going to open a new business that caters for the elderly, but the area in which you open your business has majority young people, then there's really no point opening up that business there. What about level of competition? If there is a strip of shops already selling with one or two fruit market shops, you're not going to go and open up another fruit market there. You need to think about the cost. You might find the ideal location for your business, but is it too much? What about proximity to other businesses as well? People must be able to find it easy to get to your business. If they don't, they probably won't make the trip there. So, accessibility of your business to transport is really important. Your business should be able to be accessible by public transport. What about reputation of the area? Would you go and open a new business in an area with bad reputation, or would you choose an area with a good reputation? Would you choose an area with a lot of crime, or an area with very minimal crime? What about levels of support? Okay, now it's time to do a little bit more work. So turn to page 64 of your textbook and complete activity 4.9. Decision number 7. This is the last one. Layout of premises. When starting your own business, it is important to have the right layout. The first step is to prepare a floor plan. So you need to be able to work out where are you going to put everything. This is an example of a floor plan. Factors to consider in layout design. Fixtures and fittings. You need to take into account the image of the business and the environment required to make the right impression. You need to think about the placement of fixtures and fittings to maximize traffic flow. Placement of stock merchandise should ensure that clients and customers see what the business wants them to see. You need to have knowledge of your customers' buying habits. So you need to plan your layout accordingly. You need to have the opportunity to display merchandise attractively and to have attractive window fronts. You need to also think about displaying your items in a complementary way. So things that belong together are arranged together. So it's not a disorganized shop layout. One of the most attractive business layouts are the Apple stores. As you can see here, the colors are very minimal. It's got some beautiful big glass windows, so you can see right through into the store. As soon as you walk in, there are aisles and there's always a person at the front to greet you. All of the salespeople are wearing uniforms, so you know who to approach. It's quite innovative as well. The times that I've been there, like you purchase something and a receipt comes through one of the tables at the bottom, and you know, customers get fascinated with that. There are lots of things to look at. There are things that you can play with while you're looking for something or while you're waiting for someone to help you. So that's an example of a very good business layout. Okay, let's do some more work. So turn to page 65 and 66 of your textbook and complete activity 4.10 and 4.11. Your homework is also the chapter summary questions, and you need to study for the chapter 4 quiz. Now let's do a recap, because I know you all like recaps. So a small business operator needs to become effective decision makers. Decisions and self-analysis must be made prior, that means before, the commencement of a small business. So this means that you can't open a small business and then think about the decisions that you need to make before opening it. You need to actually make those decisions first. You need to think about, are you suited to run a small business? If you're the kind of person that is not organised or not innovative, you're going to find it hard to open your own small business. And even if initially you're able to open up the small business, is it sustainable? Is it viable? Is it going to make money? What are your motivations for opening up your own business? What are your goals? What is it that you want to achieve? You need to think about your personal skills, communication, technological skills, your planning. Are you able to look after the financial part of the business? Are you a risk taker? And are you able to work independently? What about the type of business? An entrepreneur sees opportunities that others do not. Possible sources of ideas are family and friends, personal inspiration. You need to do a bit of research. You could look overseas. You could read magazines and get inspired. You need to also develop a concept. Initial market research, including what we call a feasibility study, needs to be conducted to ascertain if your business is going to be financially viable. after that, you need to decide, are you going to purchase a new or an existing business? Now, if you're going to purchase a new business, there are lots of advantages. For example, it's autonomous and you have control over the business and its development. The owner avoids buying into the mistakes of others, but an disadvantage is that there's greater uncertainty and there's more risk. What about purchasing an existing business? Advantages are it's a simpler process. You've got access to financial records. There's established clients, suppliers, staff. Cash flow commences sooner. But advantages are that you have to pay for that word, goodwill. Goodwill means basically a business's reputation. So if you are buying an existing business, you have to buy the goodwill of that business. Now, some advantages could be you have to pay extra for goodwill because goodwill is hard to measure. It's the reputation of a business. How do you measure that? What about buying a franchise? Now, advantages are less risk, greater recognition and assistance. However, some disadvantages are less autonomy, the cost of the fees are very, very high. Now, when you're opening up your own small business, you also have to think about the ownership structure. This is the legal part of the business. Is it going to be a sole trader? Are you going to get into a partnership with someone? Are you going to open up a company? And if so, is it going to be a private company with limited proprietors? Or is it going to be a public company with shareholders? Each of them has its own advantages and disadvantages. And finally, you have to think about the location and the layout of the business. Different businesses have different location requirements depending on available funds, so how much money you have, visibility requirements, need for space, and access to suppliers. Now, the layout of the business, you need to consider the desired environment. So what kind of feel do you want your business to have? You need to be able to maximize traffic flows. And the location of stock in your business is really important. Thank you very much for listening to Chapter 4 video. Until next time, enjoy.